All right, welcome to Becky Castle's final summation of this class. You can look through at my poster here and read what it has to say, but I just kind of wanted to verbally just sort of sum up my thoughts on each thing. So starting with my philosophy. Really, my philosophy, as Rice put it, is really the primary role for me is an educator. And what that means, I think, for all of us in this class is that while the strategies, the methodologies, all those things change throughout our years of teaching, if we're going to be a good teacher, we need to adapt to those. We need to learn them, take classes, and come up with ways to make sure that our students get the best possible chance to become educated. And now with the advent of these computers and all these online tools, that means we need to learn these Web 2.0 programs and we need to incorporate them in. So my goal really hasn't changed in teaching. My goal is to be a good teacher. And so my role right now is to learn these techniques to become a teacher that's a good teacher online. Right. As far as the unit I might start with, I've already incorporated a lot of sort of computer-based activities in a lot of my different units, but one in particular is astronomy because it has such a fantastic array of websites that are awesome for showing something that you really can't show in a laboratory. You can't recreate a nebula. You can't, demonstrate the Big Bang. So already I've reached out to the internet for all kinds of things from NASA and stuff like that. So that would be the one that would probably be the easiest for me to start with, only because I have so many things already set up. I would just have to make them more, I have to adapt them so they're more either asynchronous, so they can do them at home, or just change the way that they would use these sources. All right. I'm kind of scrolling down here. I think I can scroll down while I'm screenmatic here. All right. As far as management for synchronous and asynchronous management, that chapter that in Rice's book about managing your discussions and things like that really had a lot of great suggestions, but I think one of the things that is important always in every teaching environment is to set up very clear and concise parameters that students will follow. And I think that's the rule for good classroom management, even face to face. And I think if you set up very clear and concise parameters and very clear and concise consequences for not following them, it doesn't matter what environment you're in, all right? Because the students know what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be doing it, and they also know what happens if they don't do those things. And so because I'm new to this, I'm going to be, manipulating and changing things as I learn what the new boundaries are. Students are going to test the boundaries. I'm going to react to that. So each year I'll get better at managing these things. But I think if they know exactly how they're expected to use these synchronous and asynchronous assignments, how exactly I plan to assess these assignments, then they are going to try to follow those things. And in every classroom, there's a student who maybe is not going to follow those things. And maybe I'm going to need to, modify what I think I'm going to be doing and the consequences I plan to use. But that's going to be the learning process. And that's what the first couple of years of, doing some flipped things is going to be all about. All right. I think my biggest aha moment was definitely, clearly in my mind, is when I watched the video clip of the chemistry teacher. Maybe because he was a science teacher, and that was really the first person we ran into that was science in this class. But his point was so valid, and I have already run into this several times when you feel like you have worked so hard to get these kids to learn these concepts. And by hard, I mean come up with things that are fun and entertaining, but also structured. And you've scaffolded, and you've done all these things, and you feel like they've used every form of learning possible, audio, visual, tactile, you name it, I've done it. And then they take the test, and they just do okay. And you think, really? I have worked so hard to get you to learn this. How can this just be okay? Why are you not getting this? Why can you not apply this information when I ask you to be assessed? And that's kind of what he said. And so I think to myself, well, maybe the flipping is the thing. Not flipping every day, not flipping every assignment, but certainly having some flipped lessons incorporated in, so students have a chance to utilize that format, to try to get engaged out of school and then come in and do hands-on stuff in school, um, you know, in a greater way. I mean, we already do labs, we already do those things in science, so we already do that, but we spend so much time learning the content, going over the content, lecturing, interactive notes, reading and doing all kinds of different things to learn what the content is. That by the time we get to the lab, I try to squeeze it in 1 day, 2 days, and then we got to be done. Hand it in, let's move on. So if this flipping helps me to see that we can make this a more enriched learning environment and that these kids actually learn the information better, I will be so excited. And that's probably the one thing that's got me really pumped up about this class and really got me pumped up for next year. All right, so that in a nutshell is my journey to online learning and what my goals are and my thoughts are. Thank you.